Good afternoon. A slight departure from the normal weather theme today in that it's very, very cloudy and it has just been raining. For some reason I've had a miraculous run with these in the past where it's been blue sky and sun. So there you go, just some proof for you that the weather is indeed Scottish. So the inspiration from this week is just again from stuff that I've been thinking about, and also just from a coaching session that I was doing the other day. So I had a session with a client the other day, and as is often the case, as I found through coach training, I'm quite sensitive to the use of language that's used, and the words that you choose and the way that you say things is incredibly important because it actually reveals quite a lot about what you really think and feel to some degree. So the context for this was that we were talking about someone who was looking to make some improvements about the way that they communicate with specific people in the role that they're in. So they had just moved into a more senior role and wanted to really nail down how they wanted to behave and communicate with certain people, but whilst also keeping that true to how they like to operate as well. So it's not about becoming someone else, it's about working out how to make what you do the best version of you, I guess. So making sure that it's still akin to your values and your identity and just basically the way that you like to do things, because there's nothing worse than doing stuff trying to pretend like you're someone else and just having that eternal awful internal sense of conflict of just really behaving in a way that's not in accordance with your own values. So that was really what it was all about. And she was talking about wanting to look more confident, and that was how it was worded. I want to look more confident. And so I had made a note of this. I thought that was quite an interesting way to word it. What you want out of this is to look more confident. And so I picked my moment and I came back to it and I said, you said before that you want to look more confident. Is that really what you want? And she said, oh no, absolutely not. I don't want to just look confident, I want to be confident. And I think that is really, really interesting. So when you kind of dig beneath the surface of that, we talked about the difference between looking and being. And actually, if you look at our world as it is, so if you're someone who's an avid fan of social media, or actually at the other end of the spectrum, if you're not a big fan of social media for various reasons, then this is really, for me, this is what social media is all about. Social media has a heavy emphasis on how things look. So it does appear to me that people's main concern in social media is how things look. So you'll get people's best front, essentially, so you'll get their best face forward. There's people, for example, that I know that are having relationship problems or family problems, but actually you would never know it from looking at Facebook. It's a very glossy presentation. Look how amazing I am, look how amazing my family is, look how amazing my partner is. And it is quite interesting when you come across those specific examples of I know for a fact that that's not what's going on in your life. Obviously you're never going to share that openly because those kind of things are private and confidential, but it just goes to show you that that's really what social media is all about. Social media on the whole, and some facets of social media in particular, so Facebook I think is the main one for me. It's style over substance. So for me, I would much rather be something than look like something. So we talked about that in the session in some detail. Actually it's more about how can you be confident rather than how can you look confident, because I think that's just that's a superficial shell, really, isn't it? I want to look like something, I want to be confident. So I'd much rather be confident and not look confident than the other way around. And this also resonated into another conversation I had with a trainee of mine that I was looking after, who was having some difficulties with self-confidence. Her confidence had taken a few knocks recently after broadly having a a pretty good training year so far. There was a couple of things happened that just really knocked her confidence, and things had snowballed a little bit. And really, that was the emphasis on the chat I had with her was, yeah, you know, the people around you, you're comparing yourself with them, and they look really confident. But the thing is, probably most of these people that look really confident are probably having as much self-doubt as you are, but they're just presenting a facade which ultimately will not stand the test of time. You know, something will eventually happen to these people, no matter how confident they look. So it's better to strive towards just having that satisfying feeling of I know that the way I am behaving is in accordance with my values, and you know, who I want to be as a person, who I want to be as, you know, whatever your job role is, who I want to be as a doctor. So yeah, it's really about style over substance. So I think that generally we just all need to worry less about how things look and worry more about how they actually are. And that's what we should really be aiming for, is actually how can I embody that thing that I'm trying to be, well, you know, whether it be confidence, whether it be anything else. You know, actually I want to be competent, I don't want to look competent. You know, I want to, you know, be physically fit, I don't necessarily want to look physically fit. You know, I want to be healthy, I don't necessarily want to look healthy. Because ultimately people are gonna see what they want to see. What people will see is really just within their own you know, their own kind of context and their own sphere of influence. You can't control how people interpret these things, you can only really control what's going on inside you. So that's really the moral of the story, is that we should never really be aspiring to look like a certain attribute. You know, we should be aspiring to be that attribute, like I say, whether it be confidence, whether it be whatever. So in the battle of style over substance, for me, substance wins every time. Okay, so aim to be, don't aim to look. Thank you for listening to my ramblings. Hopefully you could hear me past the wind. I think hopefully the microphone situation has helped that a little bit. Comment if any of this resonates with you, like it, subscribe to the page if you haven't done already. Come and visit any of the social media platforms where I post most days, and engage with that as well, and I will see you next time.